Hey guys, how's it going? Let's talk about my purple Bleach deck that I have set up for the Union Arena rare battles that are coming up here this weekend. So I have it set up like I have been continuously using Ichigo's. I used the different variations here and there. Tried the Byakuya, tried the Renji one. I don't know. So now here's my mix of it all. How I feel, how I think it's gonna do. So my very standard 4 0 energy, 1 action point, Ichigo Kurosaki, flexing the super pre-release ones. I have 4 of the 0 energy, 1 action point Byakuyas. Let's zoom in a little. And then 4 of the Uryus, 0 energy, 1 action point. Draw a card, then place 1 card from your hand into your sideline. Cycling through, starting to generate more cards into my sideline with that. My 4 color triggers are my 1 energy, 1 action point Ichigo Kurosaki's. When played, look at the top card of your deck, and then place it into the top of your deck or into your sideline. It's very difficult sometimes. You're like, you want to use his ability to throw it in the sideline, but sometimes the top of your deck is just too good to pass up. And sometimes you're playing like 1 or 2 of them at the same time, and you're like, man, I want to throw a couple cards into my sideline, start building it up so I can throw them back into my removal, start using my raid abilities, but just never know. So running 4 of the color triggers, the Ichigo Kurosaki's. I have 2 of the Orihime's, the bounce back. 1 energy, 1 action. When played, return 1 other character from your field with 1 or less required energy to your hand. If you cannot return this character to your hand. And then I am running 2 of the Tenjiro, 1 energy, 1 action. Activate main, switch to resting, then sideline this card. Add up to 1 purple character from your sideline into your hand, just bouncing back something that you threw away accidentally. Or just something that you think you might need that you accidentally used up. I have 2 of the Kisuke Urahara's, 1 action point. This character is active. It gains purple energy generation, so it gains +1, generates 2. I don't know, I might switch it to run more. I might just add another Orihime instead. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not doing enough as far as the energy generation goes, but more often than not, I'm able to get that last energy to play the other cards. This is, preferably to me, it's one of my controversial cards that I'm using. The 2 energy, 1 action point Royal Palace, the sight card. Play this sight, set active onto your field, activate main, switch to resting. Look at the top card of your deck. If it has 0 squad affinity, you may reveal it and add it to your hand. Otherwise, place it at the top of your deck or sideline it. Essentially, it's the same as your color trigger, except you get to pop it off every turn. And more often than not, I'm just throwing that card in my sideline. Kicking it back to the 1 energy, 1 action color trigger Ichigo. Sometimes it's too good to pass up, and at least you know what you're drawing. It's very helpful. Here's your final trigger, your Bankai, 3 energy, 1 action point event card. Choose up to 2 of your APs and switch them to active. Running 4 of those, just in case for whatever reason it's your last life. It has happened to me. It's very spectacular. The exit that I had is I kicked off Royal Palace, so I knew what card was going to be next. And my problem is I was really counting on drawing the 5 energy, 1 action Ichigo Kurosaki's, and at that point I was like, well, Unless I have another one right after it, I am not going to win the match, which was definitely the case and I lost, but it happens. You just, sometimes it is a game of luck about what you draw and what you don't. I have 4 of the 3 energy, 1 action point Ichigo Kurisaki's. Got the release event and the super pre-release. Very nice. Flex, alternate art. Very beautiful. This character gains 1,000 battle points until the end of turn when you are attacking. So he becomes a bigger body. I do generally run him on my energy field up until I do need him at the top, just because he does generate the 2 energies. With him, I feel very much safe only running 2 of the Kisuke's and 2 of the Orihimes. This card is one that I recently added. My Rukia Kuchiki 3 energy, 1 action point. When attacking, draw a card, then place 1 card from your hand into your sideline. Essentially, she's Uryu, but you can pop her off every turn as long as you're attacking with her. My biggest problem with this deck is sometimes you just don't have enough in your sideline, so I'm trying to get it so I can throw enough into my sideline to activate my other abilities. Here I have 4 of my special triggers. The Getsuga 10 show. I have the Super Pre-Release Edition, and then I have the Shiny Hollow Edition right there. Choose 1 character with 3,000 or less battle points on your opponent's front line and sideline it. If Ichigo Kurosaki is on your field, 5,000 or less BP instead. I am running all 4 of the Ichigos just because I have a lot of Ichigos that I'm running, and I'm more comfortable using that than the Senbon Sakura, which reduces battle points. And in the Kenpachi Hisugaya deck, one of the Kenpachis, you can't reduce them, and essentially everything else is already at 5,000. And I'm more likely than not always going to have an Ichigo on my field, so I'm comfortable running all 4 of those for my special trigger. Here I have 3 of the Ichigo Kurosakis from the starter deck, 4 energy, 1 action point. Raid character, activate main once per turn, place 4 cards from your sideline into your removal area. If you do, draw a card and give this character impact. The only benefit I like of it is you are drawing a card, you are setting an extra card, as opposed to the Byakuya into your sideline, but you do get to draw a card. It's the one thing I like about him. So I'm running 4 of him. I have 2 of the Renji Abarais. Because I don't have any rateable cards to put him on top of, I'm only counting on him for his damage too. He's a very big body, but you pay 1 extra AP per turn, and he hits for 2 instead. So it's a very threatening card. If you play it right, usually they'll block him. Unless you somehow get him out very early before your opponent has any blockers, you might pop off on that damage too. Or get rid of one of your opponent's blockers. So I have 2 of him. Just for whatever reason I need to, I'm running 2 of the 4 energy, 1 action Rukias, the raids. She's a little more helpful as far as it goes to sending into your sideline. Just because when she comes onto the field, you draw 3 cards, and then you place 2 from your hand into your sideline. So you get to pick. It's cycling into your hand and then feeding into your sideline. And then activate main, place 1 card from your hand into your sideline. Once per turn, choose up to 1 character on your field. It gains 500 battle points till the end of turn. More often than not, because I'm only running 2 of the Rukias, I am using her as like a very big vanilla body on the field to kind of threaten my opponent. But those very few times where I trigger her from my life, I will raid on top just to move her up, or even just to use her ability to throw some quick cards into my sideline just so I can pop off on these guys. So these guys are definitely more reliant on having cards into your sideline. Let's talk about the Byakuya Kuchiki first, because I'm running 2 of him. The one alternate art SR 1-star card, and then the regular SR. 5 energy, 1 action point, Byakuya Kuchiki, raid. He is very heavily dependent on having cards in your sideline to mill back into your removal. So when place the top 2 cards on your sideline place 2 cards from your sideline into your removal area. If you do, all characters on your opponent's front line lose 1,000 battle points until the end of the turn. I brought him mainly just for that reduction, just in case my opponent has something very big. I know the Kurapika comes in as a 5 and it is very threatening and you can't really do much about him. That helps you out for the turn to set up, because your opponent's going to be like, well, I can't block now. The second thing he does is activate main. Once per turn, place 3 cards from your sideline into your removal area. If you do, this character gains impact. So not only does when he comes in, he reduces by 1,000 and then gains impact, but his third ability is that when he attacks us, place 1 card from your sideline into your removal area. If you do, choose up to 1 character on your opponent's front line. It loses 1,000 battle points until the end of turn. So he, on his first turn that he comes in, if you're milling a total of 6 cards, 2 for the first ability when played, 3 for the main, and then 1 for when attacking, your opponent's character cards on the front line lose 2,000 and he gains impact, so he can more than likely hit your opponent's life is the whole point of him. I'm only running 2 of him just because I'm more counting on the Ichigo Kurosakis to essentially kill something. But I mean, it is very nice to have your opponent lose some battle points on their cards. That way you can actually hit. Maybe you're swinging with a full board of 4,000. There's two or 3 Kuropikas, maybe even just 1 on your opponent, and he's like, can't fully hit me as hard as you want, and then you reduce the battle points, and you're like, you know what? This turn I can. But yeah, this is your 5 energy, 1 action Ichigo Kurosaki, your raid. Very helpful when he comes in, and after he just sits there as a big body. So he, when played, place the top 2 cards of your deck into your sideline. Always feed into your sideline, and then place any number of cards in your sideline into your removal area. If you do, choose up to 1 character on your opponent's front line. It loses 500 battle points for each card placed into your removal area with this ability until the end of turn. So you don't have to, you could just reduce something by a little bit for a turn, or if you want to kill it, you want to send a big 4,000 body, gotta send 8 cards into your removal. I've set it up so that for the most part I can usually send 1 or 2 cards into my sideline, or I've set up quite a couple into my sideline. Either way, the longer I play with my opponent, the more removal I have with this deck. I like it. I'm still getting very much used to how I set up a lot of these cards, just so I can be better prepared to use it. Some cases it's more circumstantial. I have had really good luck using it. I've definitely put more into the purple bleach than any other color, any other IP for Union Arena. I like it. It's my very regular deck. It's what everyone at Locals expects me I'm gonna use, and I'm probably gonna use for the rare battle events. But I think this is the last time I'm going to tweak it for a good while. Maybe until Volume 2 comes out, or if I get any more of the very beautiful alternate art cards. I'm very happy with it. I've won some locals. I do very well. I'm usually top 4 or around top 4. But this is where I've ended up, and I like it. I'm more comfortable with it, and I definitely know how to use the combinations that I've set up with it. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys have prepared for the rare battle events. I'm excited. I'm very excited to. I'm definitely happy with this card game. I love how it's going, and I love the community in it. Definitely made a really nice group of friends that I see typically once a week, and I'm excited. But those are my opinions. This is my deck. If you see me out there, if you recognize this deck and you lose against it, I'm sorry. You knew what was in it. But I'll catch you guys on the flip. Like and subscribe, and I'll see and hear from you guys soon.